For timetables, check carefully the time each program or event will be starting and ending. For graphs and tables, check the items against their corresponding amounts. Amounts are listed in increments. For example, 50s, hundreds, thousands. Some items are midway or halfway. Examples: midway between an increment of 50 is 25, because 50 divided by 2 is 25. Therefore, add 25 to the last number. Therefore, midway between 150 and 200 is 175. That's because you add 25 to 150. So 25 plus 150 equal 175. Likewise, add 50 for increments of 100 and 500 for increments of 1000, and so on. Pictographs show a picture representing a certain amount. Half of a picture means half the amount. Add or subtract the pictures carefully, then multiply the amount each picture represents. The cardinal points are important in reading maps. They are north, south, east, west. As the arrows indicate, north is at the top, south is at the bottom, east is to the right, west is to the left. So somewhere in the north is up the top, somewhere in the south is down the bottom, somewhere in the east is over to the right, and somewhere in the west is over to the left. Read advertisements carefully 2 times to make sure you understand what is written. Make note carefully of who is advertising, the advertisers' addresses and telephone numbers, what is being advertised, the benefits and features of what is being advertised, who the advertisement is for, or who the advertiser is trying to sell its products or services to, and so on. Make sure to read the fine prints, as they may be very important, but the advertiser does not want it to be easily noticed. Read comprehension passages 2 times to make sure you understand them. When answering questions referring to the passage, try to remember what you read first. Think of the answer, then check the passage to see if you are right. Next, check the choices given between A, B, C, and D, and choose the best or closest answer. Possibly, the right answer will use the same words used in the passage. Maybe the right answer won't use the same words used in the passage. Remember that statements can be said in different ways, even though the meaning is the same. Read each question 2 times. Check back the passage if it says what you think and exactly answers the question. Choose the best answer available and shading the correct choice carefully. If you choose to erase a shaded choice, erase it cleanly, then shade your new choice. Then shade in your new choice. Make sure it doesn't look like you have 2 answers shaded in. You will receive a mark for none of them. If that is the case, you will just get the question wrong. So, if you have to erase cleanly. If it looks like you have 2 answers, you won't get a mark for any of them. You will just get the question incorrect. Remember also to apply skills such as fact and opinion, cause and effect, predicting outcomes, drawing conclusions from what is not actually said, and statements that are said in different ways with the same meanings. Figures of speech help us to see pictures more clearly in our minds. When writing, it's good to include figures of speech. Figures of speech include simile, metaphor, personification, and onomatopoeia. Simile uses the words like or as to compare. Examples: like a dog and as slow as a snail. Some popular similes are as easy as ABC, as quick as lightning, as wise as an owl, as talkative as a parrot, as busy as a bee, as cold as ice, and as sweet as honey. Metaphors do not use the words like or as. They make comparison by saying one thing or person is another or does something. To understand metaphors, you have to think carefully what is meant, thinking of the effect an action stated would have or how the action could be done. Metaphors are popular. We use them every day. People use metaphors when they speak. Look out for them and remember that they have special meanings. Try to figure out what metaphors mean when you hear them. Example: the man is no longer with us. As we read earlier, the man is no longer with us can mean that the man is dead. Some popular metaphors and their meanings are to turn the other cheek, meaning not to fight back. Example: sometimes it is better to just turn the other cheek. To burn the midnight oil, meaning to stay up late at night and study or work. Example: I will burn the midnight oil tonight in preparation for my GSAT mock exams. To live from hand to mouth, meaning all the money you earn is used up as soon as you get it. Example: most people live from hand to mouth. To get into hot water, meaning to get into trouble. Example: Paul got into hot water for going to the party without permission. To drag one's feet, meaning to waste time. Example, do not drag your feet, hurry up. To lend an ear, meaning to listen. Example, will you lend me an ear while I tell you what happened? To lend a hand, meaning to help. Example, lend me a hand with this heavy load, please. To bend over backwards, meaning to do what is almost impossible. Example, I had to bend over backwards to get my son into that school. Other examples, Kathy got into hot water because she stole the money. John keeps dragging his feet, so his projects are always late. Could you lend me a hand with the fixing of the blender? He lived from hand to mouth for a few years before he won the lotto. Can someone lend me an ear here, please? I'm talking.